Well, it looks to me like when given a choice between striking techniques and grappling techniques, if a person has any competence in striking, they're going to pick striking techniques over grappling techniques. And it looks to me like people tend to fall back on grappling techniques if they're insecure about their striking techniques. I have been trying to come up with a way to where you could do like a point-based MMA sparring, if that's what you want to call it. I call it Cecil Taekwondo sparring, where Taekwondo and Judo tournament techniques both have equal weight and can be applied. So that means that ideally, a judoka who knows how to handle can do some blocking, or can parry some strikes that come at him, could compete against a Taekwondoan who knows how to fall safely for a judo throw. They could compete against each other with their forte, with a minimal amount of cross training. And most of my students that are allowed to do that, they can do that. But it looks like even when I have the ones that are judo majors, the judokas against the Taekwondoans, unless the judokas gotten to around the brown belt level or up, they tend to prefer striking. It looks like they want to do striking because they know they don't have to get as close to the person to score a point. Now that dovetails with what I've actually seen in real fights, meaning that in most fights, people actually try to hit each other. Unless they're just both totally lousy, then they'll kind of grab each other and roll around with each other. And maybe one person can throw some wild haymakers while holding on to the person with the other arm. And those haymakers really don't even hurt that much. It takes a billion of them to really do any damage. But in real fights, if one person really has any decent competency in striking, they usually will dominate. Now that's what I tend to see in fights. But I still cross-trained in grappling anyway, to the point of getting a black belt in judo, and really would like to go further, because I like judo too. But in terms of a real conflict, the grappling has served me for when I've had to restrain people that, have lost their mind, or I don't really want to hurt them. Then bam, you get them off the ground, you get them in a judo pen, get them on the ground, you get them in a judo pen and they're fine. So I don't know where the whole grappling bias came from. It looks to me like it really must have come from the Gracies trying to sell their product. And I'm not trying to diss the Gracies per se, but it's looking to me like that's really where it must have come from. I remember one of the worst fights I saw when I was a kid. It was technically it was a schoolyard fight. One of the worst fights I saw was a kid that was an excellent wrestler against a guy that was a good kickboxing fighter. And the kickboxing kid tore the wrestling kid up because the wrestling kid could not get close enough to grapple. Every time he tried to come in, he just got kicked in the chest and punch, and kicked in the chest and punch, and kept getting knocked down. And the striker kid didn't try to wrestle with him on the ground. He just stayed on his feet. So I'm not trying to bash like a more infamous YouTube player, but it's really looking at me like if you only have time to study one or the other, and your primary concern is self-defense, you should study striking. Let me say that clear again. If you only have time to study one or the other, and your primary concern is self-defense, you should study striking. Now, if you only have time to study one or the other, and your job is a job where you have to be like a bouncer, you have to restrain people, like you're a police officer or you work at a mental ward, and then you should study grappling. I tried to encourage the kids to do more grappling. I would have to slant the rules to totally favor grappling. That's what I'd have to do. And I feel like right now, for the Cecil Ryu point sparring, that the rules actually do favor grappling, because I tell them, because if I'm doing the 5-point spread thing, 3 points, well, no, it's 2 points for a kick, 1 point for a punch. Okay? So to make the judo equivalent, that means an ippon is 5 points. So if they got a really good throw off, that would be 5 points and the match is over. A wazari would be 3 points and the match is over. And a yuko would be 2 points. They could get multiple yukos. And if they got 3 yukos, that would be over 5 points. It's not like a judo match where no matter how many yukos you get, if somebody scores a wazari, they beat you. So they could accumulate points with yukos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But my point is, so it still in a way technically favors grappling. It just doesn't start off in a grappling range. And they still prefer to strike. Me and the judo brown belts that I got right now are about the only ones who can come in and implement our judo. And even the judo brown belts probably got about the equivalent of a white belt in Taekwondo. So I've taught him some Taekwondo techniques, so he knows enough blocking and kicking to where he can fight in that range if he has to, and then he comes in for a throw. So, I'm not trying to be anti-grappling, because I'm not. But my experience has been contrary to the whole all fights going to the ground myth. My experience has been most fights are won by people that stand up, stand on their feet. But grappling is good for when you got to restrain somebody that might be trying to hurt you, but you can't afford to hurt them. Or if you start off close. Maybe what I'm going to have to do is start people off closer if I want to encourage more grappling. But that's kind of poison in the well. So, like I said, it's looking to me like if all things are equal, people, if they feel comfortable, they're going to strike. If they have any confidence in striking, in their striking ability, they're going to strike. If they have zero confidence in their striking ability, they're going to try to do crude grappling techniques that really would only be effective if they're a lot stronger than the person that they're grabbing, not physically stronger. So that's where I'm at right now. Still trying to find that perfect yin-yang between my judo and Taekwondo. Will I ever find it? I don't know. But the journey in and of itself will be interesting. What am I saying? I don't have a yin-yang now because my Taekwondo rank is way higher than my judo rank. Oh well.